Hello and welcome to Talking Wanderers. My name's Nick Jackson and with me today are Mark Isles and Liam Cronell, our Wanderers analysts, to assess the impact of Wanderers' stunning 4-0 win over QPR at Loftus Road last week and whether they can repeat that feat against Manchester City at the Reebok Stadium on Sunday. OK, Liam and Mark, let's talk about what a magnificent start it was last week against QPR, and can they repeat it against Manchester City and all their mighty megabucks?
I think it'd be going some to expect a 4-0. I mean, you're absolutely right, Nick. It was a fantastic result. I mean, for more than half an hour, I think Wanderers were just about coping with QPR. They had quite a mobile front three rather. But something clicked into gear, and I think they steadily grew into the game. When Gaz Cahill scored that goal on half-time, that was it. QPR felt like a pack of cards, really, and now it's on to City. So
yeah, they really taught QPR a lesson about the harsh reality of the Premier League.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's never easy when you take on one of these teams that have just come up. They're always tricky fixtures because they've always got the momentum and that sort of winning feeling. So it was a great result for Bolton, and hopefully they can continue it in Sunday's top of the table clash.
Alphabetical order has fallen in our favour, hasn't it? Now, the thing is with City, I mean, we know it's going to be a completely different game. Very much the underdogs, but I just think it works now in our favour in the same way as it did with QPR. That they're coming to the Reebok now. Big crowd expected. There's real expectation on Wanderers this season. The atmosphere and the fact that it's televised, it might just work to give Wanderers a little bit of an edge there.
I think that's the important thing with the QPR result, because everyone knows Bolton's got a difficult start to the season, but getting those 3 points will be a massive weight off Bolton's shoulders, and they can now go into this game where nothing's really expected of them and have a real good go at City, and who knows, they certainly can be beaten.
Right. In the meantime, of course, there's been some transfer activity. Tuncay, what about him?
Tuncay's, we've just heard now that he's got his international clearance, so he's all go now for Manchester City. Where he'd fit in, I don't know. I mean, I think you'd expect him to start because obviously he's a high-profile player. But where he fits in the mix, whether he he's played in behind Kevin Davis, up front alongside him, whether he plays to either side, I don't know. It's interesting.
I think it'd be incredibly harsh to drop anyone from last week's performance, and I think Tuncay probably going to come from the bench. That's the way I see it, and hopefully have a bigger impact as Sergio Aguero, who they're lining up against.
And of course, there's all sorts of speculation being going on throughout the whole summer regarding Cahill, Shaun Wright-Phillips, and we've got the David Ngog. What's the latest situation with that, and will that affect things at the weekend?
As we stand, there's 13 days to go, I think, until the end of the transfer window, and there's going to be a lot of activity. I think we know all about Shaun Wright-Phillips. That's on the back burner at the minute. It's basically down to, does he want to come to Bolton? Does he find the financial package that they've put forward as opposed to some of the other clubs more attractive? He knows he's going to get first team football at Bolton. He likes the style at Bolton. He likes Owen Coyle. A lot of things count in our favour. But ultimately, as a career move, does he see European football with Paris Saint-Germain, for example, or Stoke as a bigger, better move? David Ngog, we're hearing that transfer is maybe pushing on a little bit because Liverpool are trying to get themselves sorted. And then, I mean, as Liam will probably tell you, Cahill's one that's bubbling on as well. I
think the interesting thing with the Cahill and Ngog thing now is whether they're possibly going to be Ngog maybe in a mate-weight deal for Cahill. It's no secret that Liverpool need a new centre half, but equally at the same time, Kenny Dalglish has spent a lot of money over the summer, and he needs to recoup some of that first. Obviously, using Ngog as a mate weight, obviously that changes things slightly. So, I think it's watch this space in respect to that.
I mean, the mood coming out of Liverpool, the people I speak to over there were saying that Dalglish had got to a stage where he was going to have to now sell to buy and maybe do a little bit of juggling himself. That does bear out a little bit to the stories that are going through with Ngog and this young lad as well. I forget what his name is now. He's being thrown in as a loan deal. I'd be very surprised if Wanderers went for that sort of thing. Obviously, they're looking at getting as much money back as they can in this Cahill deal now, because they're going to have to replace him. If Ngog's going to be the mate weight in there, there's no ready-made centre half, as maybe in some of the previous deals there was a player that could pretty much come straight in. Owen Coyle knows that if Gary Cahill goes in the next week or so, he's going to have to be very quick with replacing him.
I still think Mark said 13 days. I still think a lot of this business is going to be done on the last day. I can see it rumbling on, particularly Cahill. I'd be staggered if anything was done, next week even.
So roll on the 31st of August and we can all relax and get back to just watching football matches perhaps.
Roll on 31st of October and it's Halloween.
Of course. That's it from Talking Wanderers. Don't forget you can download free of charge from the iTunes store the Bolton and Bury football app to keep up with all the latest news from the Reebok Stadium and Gig Lane.